All right, guys. Well, starting things off a little bit differently, that was Kitchen Dwellers with a beautiful rendition of Breathe In from their most recent stand at Terminal West. My name is Scotty Fuller, and welcome to another episode of Podular with my wonderful co-host Nathan. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Scott. It's good to see you again here. That wasn't String Tribe Sector 9. I could have
Man,
sworn.
we could do some String Tribe Sector 9 anytime they want. Uh, I heard about this on Saturday morning and immediately texted you and said we have to do some minutes on this Breathe In cover from the Kitchen Dwellers, and you said the Kitchen Dwellers covered Breathe In.
Yeah. I was in disbelief. I thought it was a typo for sure. But like you said, STS9 covers in the wild are rare, right? And,
Very
and
rare.
for them to do this and pay homage to STS9 in their city of Atlanta is really cool. And I think you hear the guy right at the beginning of the clip when they're going into the EULA section go soundtrack, soundtrack, as if he didn't get the first 4 minutes were also the breathing intro, which are worth checking out if you have nugs and going on checking out Kitchen Dwellers doing that. But yeah, your thoughts on bluegrass overall, Scotty? How do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm a big bluegrass guy. I love Green Sky. I love Yonder. I love Cheese when Cheese gets into bluegrass. It's not, I guess it's not my number one go-to. I do like drums. But that doesn't scare me off from bluegrass necessarily. Obviously, I love Billy Strings. But I would say in the bluegrass sector, Green Sky is probably the thing that speaks the truest to me. I've been in some Green Sky shows where they've found some pockets that really got me there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a problem with it. And Kitchen Dwellers is another one. Those guys are awesome. They put on a couple of shows during COVID. They did the drive-in theater thing up in northern Colorado.
Mhm.
So if nothing else, that band has a very special place in my heart because they were the ones that tried to do something when we were all cooped up inside, and I loved that Breathe In. I wish that happened more often with other bands where they would pull from Sound Tribe's catalog, and I have no complaints about it. I thought it was amazing. How do you feel
Absolutely.
about bluegrass, Mr. Nathan?
It's not my favorite. I really enjoy it when it's really good,
Sure.
but I'm going to share the same sentiment with you. My favorite bluegrass band to see, which they're technically not a bluegrass band, is Railroad Earth, is because they have a
Okay.
drummer. You
Sure.
know, and anyone who's super into STS9, I'm sure is super into the drums, right?
Hmm.
And I cannot deny the talent of bluegrass musicians. It's unbelievable. You can't deny the talent of Billy Strings, possibly being the most famous person in the scene since Jerry Garcia, right? And to see what he's doing is sweet, but I'm just waiting for him to add a drummer to really start going to more shows, honestly. So,
Sure. And he does a little bit of that. Isn't it Dwayne Trucks that sits in with him from time to time?
yes, yeah, and
Yes.
he's
And
he's played with plenty of bands that have drummers,
mhm,
Billy and the Kids and everything like that. But when his band adds a drummer, I think that's when that takes them to the next level.
I agree.
I think it's going to happen. But yes, welcome to episode 3. Another thing about that String Tribe Sector 9, what I think would be really cool is like the next time STS9 throws a festival like Wave Spell, you get a bluegrass band, probably under the radar bluegrass band that are STS9 fans to do a String Tribe Sector 9 set. That would be sweet. I want to hear Baraka on bluegrass. I want to hear just one set of the day and then throw me house music and STS9 for the rest of the day. So I think that'd be a cool
Absolutely.
concept.
I also don't I also think that there are plenty of cool opportunities to like to your point about a wave spell festival, a wave spell set with a banjo player might not suck. Uh you know?
They'd figure it
But
out for
throw
sure.
me some fiddle or something in there could be cool. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, some Kangle in maybe, who knows? But
Yeah.
happy STS9 week, Scotty. They're
That's
back.
right. We are
Yeah.
back.
We got some shows to prepare for in the Bay Area, in Oakland, right?
That's right.
Bay
Across the
Area
bridge.
STS9. That's right. At the Fox Theater. Scotty, I haven't
Yes.
been to the Fox Theater. You haven't either, the
I've
one in
not.
Oakland. Yeah, but obviously seeing a ton of pictures from the Fox Theater, a ton of STS9 videos from the Fox Theater. It is a gorgeous venue. I know a lot of friends are headed out to the West Coast, and West Coast fan base is excited for the shows, and they should be. You just think about the venues they've been playing this year. Some pretty darn cool venues. You got, the Moody, you got the new venue with Radius in Chicago. Now they're finishing up here before the New Year's run, which is going to be at the Joy, which is really cool. And you
Great
got
venue.
the Fox, which this has got to be a landmark place to see the band, right?
Yes, absolutely. High on my list. I've done California Tribe, but I've never done a proper STS9 show in California. You and I were part of both wave spells, and I believe you did LA or was it San Francisco in 2017?
Yeah. So I've seen
Okay,
them in the Bay Area. They play at the Warfield, which is a really cool place. Ton of history there.
sure,
And Zach was talking about how they were walking around the venue, and it felt like he could feel the ghosts of past shows that were walking around
sure.
that place. And that place is definitely awesome. And the pit is an absolute war zone, and it was for those shows too. But we're pumped for these shows. We thought it'd be awesome to highlight some moments from the band's history at this venue. They played quite a bit of shows there, starting in 2012, and then a couple times with Alana as well. So we've got a couple clips to share here, and I know, Scotty, you're gonna start us off. So we'll do things a little bit differently. Usually we'll let the clips speak for themselves and don't intro them, but this time around, since we're kind of going back in time, I think it'd be cool to explain it a little bit. So what are you starting us with?
We starting off with Brent. Is that what we got first on the list?
That is, yep.
Okay, so this is rent from. Pardon me, I'm not prepared. Pulling up my list right here. This is the rent from 2014. Pardon me, 2016, January 29th, 2016. Just a nice fat rent. No covers or anything quite yet. We'll get into some of those later, but I started off and just ran through every Oakland show that I had access to this week, and this rent was kind of the first thing to jump out to me, and yeah, just wanted to feature a few minutes of it.
Absolutely. This is a monster, and from 2016 winter tour, which is huge. And man, bless Jamar, right? For ripping off
Oh,
acts in front of house streams. So we do have some video for you this week, mixed in with some audio clips too. So it'll be fun to watch Saxon at work here too. And that is Kaya. Here's Rent. think we know how the rest of that one goes, huh?
Man, so the reason that I picked this one is because in the in the limited episodes that we've had so far, we haven't talked a whole lot about Jeffrey. And Jeffrey's very much in the front of that first half of that jam. Whole lot of cowbell going on. And just a good opportunity to talk about our guy Jeffrey for a few minutes. This rent is very to me it's very, I don't know, quintessential to the time that it was played in. It's very fun. It's very explorative. The band was, it felt like a brand new band at that time. Alana had been there for a few months at that point, and you can just really hear the fun and the comfort starting to set in this rent. It just, I don't know, it jumped out to me.
Yeah, no, I mean Jeffrey is the Sonic MDMA of this band for sure. He, with the whooshes and whirs and the cowbells and the tablas and everything like that, he's an extremely versatile man. Sometimes you don't know whether it's him or Zach, but he's a person that also can give Zach that third arm on certain fills and stuff
Sure.
like that. Yeah, I mean, like this 2016 fall tour or winter tour, coming off 2015, right, which I know
Sorry.
holds a special place in
Yeah.
our heart, right? Like, oh man, were they on fire that whole winter tour? Really, the first half of 2016 before we started to see more of the TUI stuff, which
Yeah.
again we enjoy, but like, man, this is that top tier 2015 type crisp playing like that, mixed
Sure.
with that set list writing that we all loved before. Any time a band drops a new album, you're gonna start to see some set list deleted by some of the songs. So really awesome show here. For my first clip, we're gonna start with a cover here. We like covers, right? We're not seeing as many covers recently, and I'm okay with that, right? But
Yeah, I mean, if you've got your own stuff to talk about, then let's talk about it. But I'm with you. I love a good cover, and oftentimes with Sound Tribe, they come and go, right? The one that you're about to play only got played 3 times,
mhm.
so they do feel very special when Tribe does choose one to pull out.
Yes. So Jamiroquai. Holy
Yes.
crap, man. If you ever get the chance to see Jamiroquai is in probably my top 3 or 5 concerts I've ever seen out of any act.
Hmm.
And for them to come in with a Jamiroquai cover here on this 2013 March 1st show from the Fox Theater in Oakland, which just a crazy set list across the board. But yeah, we'll start things out here with this Jamiroquai cover of Revolution 1993.
I intentionally didn't listen to this when we were talking about it last night because I wanted to hear it on the podcast for the first time.
There we go. So this is a premiere for Scotty. We gotta get this to load. I'll reload it. And we are human here at Pod
Yeah,
Talk.
yeah, I've made a couple mistakes already, guys. Sorry. Yuck. Good Lord in heaven. What? So I've heard that, I guess, before, but I don't remember it.
So
Um,
glad I told you not to listen to it before tonight. Oh my God. How sick is that, dude?
dude, So, so last night I went through a roller coaster of emotions because we were trying to find videos for as much of this as we could, and I found this sweet little piece of merch
What
in
is
my
that?
basement.
What is
This,
that?
this, children, is a Tour Gigs DVD. Tour Gigs used to be a pretty nifty service,
Oh
kind of
yeah.
kind of a la Nugs, but they were
Yeah.
much more just the streaming and DVD part. That was actually the part that's kind of different from Nugs, is that as soon as they got done streaming this shit, they would make DVDs of it and
Yeah.
send it to you. But one of my wook friends in the past 10 years made sure that we did not have video footage of that Revolution's 1993.
I don't know if we would have made it, dude. That's a little spicy for 2013, huh? Obviously, it's a Murph clip, and it starts with, oh, I'm sure maybe some of you new fans are like, "Whoa, where's the bass guitar?" I'm like, well, again, children, ladies and boys and girls, that's the MIDI keyboard there by Mr. David Murphy, right? And it had its time and place, right?
Sure.
And you're texting me during this, you're like, wow, the MIDI keys sound so good on this, right?
Yes.
So, your thoughts on MIDI bass, and then a little
So
bit more Murph on the bass guitar at the end of that with the horns is nice too.
sure. Okay, I mean, I've got actually a few thoughts. First of all, 2013 gets a little too much hate, as far as I'm concerned. I
That's
know
fair.
in terms of where the band was personally, that was Murph's last year, so I think it's fair to assume that they probably weren't working too well with each other at that point.
Mhm.
But the set lists that were being written are very good. We'll stumble across 2013 shows plenty in our time doing this, and maybe we'll even deep dive into some of our favorites. But I mean, the set list for this show is ridiculous. A lot of songs kind of played by the book, so to speak. Not a whole lot of jammed out stuff, but that leaves room for a few more songs. You got This Us, When the Dust Settles, Arigato, Beyond Right Now, 12, Warrior, Metamune Simulator, Set 2, Revolutions 1993, End Titles, that's a Daft Punk song. Uh,
Yeah.
Be Nice, Firewall with Horns, Golden Gate, Rent, Biggs, Awesome, Unquestionable Supremacy of Nature, and then a casual By the Morning Sun Scheme encore. Um, the building burns down if that set list gets played in 2024.
Yeah, we couldn't handle that, and
No, no,
I'm
no, no.
wondering. Yeah,
That's
I was
that's a
wondering how long it
4 hour
was.
show.
Was wondering how long it was going to take me to put my hair up this episode, but that one got the blood moving for sure. So, well, a
So
lot of
yeah,
fun from 2013 show from the Fox with a
yeah,
little Jamiroquai covering. We're gonna
yeah,
take the pace down a little bit here next, Scotty, right?
yeah, for sure. Is this the Kaya that we got pulled up now? I'm just gonna ask.
No, this would be the piano piece. We're
Okay,
headed back
cool.
to Nugs for this one, yeah.
So little intro to this piece, guys. Part of the goal, like we said in the first episode of this, is to show you guys stuff that you might not have ever heard. And in the midst of doing this, I came across something that I had never heard before. This is from 2012, Great Cycle Spectacle. I was not aware that this existed. This is April 21st of their 2 night run. They did a 420 show the night before, and then this is night two, and this is just a beautiful little piece from Phipps to end the first set.
Oh man, grab your tissues, folks.
I
Unbelievable.
to set the tone last night when I was trying to come up with my third video. I found this 2012 show. I'd just been in band camp, and then you told me what you were going with, and I was like, oh, that's right. There's some Nug shows that I could listen to.
Yeah.
And then 15 minutes later, my wife's like, "Are you crying? Are, are you okay?"
Yes. Are you not? Do you hear this?
No. Oh, I was. She was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I had no idea this existed. It didn't sound like something I hadn't heard before because I was in Lawrence on this same tour, and they had the soundboard kind of crash out on them, and they had to end the first set early. And Phipps came out and played something I believe that's pretty similar to this. Obviously, there's no recording of it, but in the moment, it just felt like something spontaneous that he was doing to brighten our spirits after a shortened first set. And then hearing it again on this soundboard, it sounds, I feel like that was the same thing that I heard then, and it's just powerful, man. It brings you, this was, I believe, at least 3 years before Phipps did his first solo piano set. But I guess this is kind of the first remnants that you see of it. I can't put my finger on too much that sounds like this out of their catalog before or after he did that.
Yeah, you hear a little bit of reemergence to start. I heard
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah,
elements
yeah.
of Firewall, so he's
Yep.
definitely like pulling from certain elements of different things, but for the most part, just running off vibes for sure. And
Hmm.
I know that the Great Cycle Spectacles tour, for those who aren't familiar, was pretty much based around a light show for the most part.
Right.
But a pretty damn cool light show that it was. It was set up like a Mayan freaking, it looked like
Pyramid.
Chichen Itza, the pyramid and
Hmm.
everything. And to end the first set like this, I know in Chicago that there's a similar piano piece, so they were doing it a little bit throughout the tour a little bit, but you had to catch these special moments through there are really cool to see and
Hmm.
revisit for sure. But and we're gonna pick things back up a little bit here and get back into the Alana era, Scotty. So intro this next clip.
Okay, this is Kaya, finally. Um, and this is not just Kaya. This is Kaya into "What Does Your Soul Look Like," which is a DJ Shadow song. And after we get to the end of it, we're gonna talk about a kind of cool discovery that we found as we were working our way through this one. That bass line sounds like something spooky creeping up on you from behind.
I thought we were done with Halloween, dude. I
I
thought Halloween
know.
was a few weeks ago.
I had that thought as I was listening to it. That would have been a great Halloween song.
I'd welcome more DJ Shadow back in. They were doing that quite a bit too. That just fits, man. With the buttery transition from Kaya into that. But yeah, I know you had a little bit of a realization. Some of you might have
Yeah,
too,
kind of
but
an
yeah.
epiphany, and I could be the last one to this party. I don't think it's something you picked up on either, but
No.
it could be something that other people have pointed out. But if that sounded a little more familiar to you guys than just a DJ Shadow song, you're right. It is the kind of the middle to out to ending part of To the World. It's a horn loop in the DJ Sato song, but it's Hunter's guitar riff in at the end of To the World. So I actually did some digging because it occurred to me that I had never caught that, and I don't know how long they had been doing that. But these are both 2016 appearances, and the first To the World is the only To the World that I could find that doesn't have the DJ Shadow guitar rip in it.
Okay.
That's from Belly Up. I believe it was February 1st or 2nd. But that is the only one that I could find, and I kind of hit play and fast forwarded through 10 of them to that part. And it seems like that song, to my knowledge, I thought it was on the 1320 mixtape, but it's not. That's a Alana original, isn't it?
The To the World?
Yeah.
I'll have to do some research on this. I
Okay.
think it might have been a part of possibly the Regeneration soundtrack. There
Okay.
was something about it before they debuted it live with Alana. I know that for
Okay.
sure. But great
That was
catch
what I
here with
thought.
that guitar lick for sure.
Yeah.
Being a DJ
Um,
Shadow. Oh,
Yeah, very cool. Seemed like something that they were working on at the same time, and maybe as they were building out To the World, they realized how perfectly that worked within it because it does. I mean, if we hadn't done this exercise of going through these shows, I would have never known that.
look at us. We're learning too.
Look at us.
So back to the Murph era here.
Uh huh.
And I didn't so much there might be something on here that makes you laugh too. This one's a little bit comedic as well, but back to Great Cycle Spectacles era. For my last two clips, I'm going to start back from the 420 show in 2012. They used to do these journey points during these shows, right? Where it'd be something they'd throw up on the LEDs. You had the activations, right? You had the intros with everything. It was all very theatrical, and I think they did a journey point as well back at the Push the Sky Red Rocks run too in some of those.
Oh
But
yes. Yeah.
this one is called SoCal Ghost, and I did a little bit of research myself on that. I'm like, wonder what that's all about. So SoCal is a town right outside of Santa Cruz, where at this
Oh.
time the whole band had lived in Santa Cruz, right? And now
Mhm.
Jeffrey and Zach still reside there. If anyone ever gets a chance to go to Santa Cruz, do it. But SoCal Ghost, I'm like, there has to be something beyond that, behind that. So the journey point is Hunab Ku, which is a Mayan symbol, of course.
Mhm.
But so in there's a lot of haunted stories in this city of SoCal. So there's a story about Anna Jean Cummings Park, now known as Blue Ball Park. As the legend goes, it's said to be haunted by a young couple who overdosed and died there in the 1970s. Several people have claimed to see the ghostly couple standing on the hill, dressed in hippie attire at night. Others claim to have seen their silhouettes sitting beneath a tree holding hands at sunset. So it's a cool little setup for this
Yeah.
clip. And then it also goes into something that's super special that we'll talk about in the back half of it too. So
wondered if anybody would know what this song was.
Oh my God, it's too good. Scotty, I need a 12 so bad. bad. I need a 12 so bad.
The one from the Eastern visits me in my dreams sometimes, and those are my favorite sleeps.
I could imagine. So imagine being here for this one, right? I mean, like before we even get into like covering the comedic aspect of this, 12 had not been played for over 5 years before this night, right? So some of you guys in the community might have been in the Facebook group, or might still be in the Facebook group, People Who Love Sector 9, right? That group had an old name before this night, and it was People to Bring Back Sector 9, and then Sector 9 brought back. But before People to Bring Back Sector 9, it was People to Bring Back 12. Those people were so right, and thanks for all the work that they did to bring it back. Right? Imagine being there, man. Bay Area, they hit that spooky ghost song about a couple of Wook ghosts who haven't came in 50 years haunting you around the park, asking you to borrow things, right? Which, like I told you, right? Haunting things is kind of a Wook tendency, let's be honest. Into the first bust out 12 in 5 years had to be a magical moment, right?
I mean, I imagine getting to the 12 and as the build before Hunter's big guitar part and just not believing it's real. I felt myself getting really excited to hear the boom. Because being in the building that night, that's got to be what everybody's like. Is it real? Is it real? Is it gonna happen?
Yeah, well,
and when that happens, it makes it real.
Murph said it. He wasn't sure if he knew if people were gonna know what song that was. Unbelievable. Damn, we miss Murph. We don't miss him talking in the middle of songs at shows, but listening back to it on certain ones like that, that's pure comedic gold. Where they start the backtrack and says, "We weren't sure if you guys were gonna know what song this was."
I think with those Murph interjections that you would have in the middle of your favorite songs, I think it's been long enough to at least admit that he was objectively hilarious a lot of the time.
Yeah, whether it was on purpose or not, he was funny.
Yeah. Oh, of course, he was unintentionally hilarious.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how often he was meaning to be as funny as he was, but when I do find myself going back to those old soundboards, whenever he pops up, it makes me chuckle.
Get a chuckle for sure.
Yeah.
So we're gonna round things. Shout out Murph. I hope he's doing well. I actually saw him. He's playing a show with like some kind of super group, and it's like pretty cool. Also cool for him to be on This Old House. My dad freaking loves that show, right? So we're gonna round things out with our clips here, Fox Theater time capsule, if you will, which with an absolute monster of a clip here. Back to the 2014 show, November 22nd, for those of you guys on Bandcamp looking to go check this one out. I mean, dude, this show is another one of those set lists. I mean, you got New Dawn, New Day, Golden Gate, Ramon into Monkey. That is a 1-2 punch. That
was almost my third song. I was between the Kaya and the Ramon and the What Does Your Soul Look Like when I figured that out. That was what kind of tipped it, but I was very close to doing the end of the Ramon into the first Monkey music.
Yeah, and then the second set has a dance where they tease, "Thank you for let me be myself again." And then you get there's a 17-minute kawaii in there, an orbital hubble, or hubbital as a lot of people like to call it. But this was the end of the second set with nice little ABCs with a cool little surprise in here for you guys too. Scotty, it's so hard to end those clips. I just, when it's the last song of a set and you want the spaceship to land and everything like that. But the first thing that comes to mind with that one, with the no quarter tees, no quarter, I would say full cover almost, get the whole band into it. It's just playful, right? And the ABC's ending at this point in Soundtrap history was making its way from that super dancey Electra ending to that super big rock opera ending.
I forgot about the electric ending to ABC.
They
completely
actually
forgot about that.
They hit it here, around the 7-minute mark. They get into it, and then they kind of bring it into this big, huge ending. And I think it pretty much had been permanently, at least for now, moved to the original ABC's ending that we hear now and we hear here by the New Year's run at the Fillmore.
Yes. And actually, as I recall, the first time I saw the original ABC's ending was actually Murph's last run in Atlanta. I think they dusted it off for that. And then they started working it back into the regular ABCs as Alana got there. Yeah, I mean, the first thing that jumps out to me about this is, it's kind of STS9 going, bet you didn't know we had this in our bag. Like a Led Zeppelin cover is not at all where you expect STS9 to pull from when they're pulling from covers. Jamiroquai makes perfect sense. But Led Zeppelin is the quintessential rock band of all time. Huge sound. Jimmy Page is a god. It just not something that I would have ever expected STS9 to do before this, but man, do they make it sound good.
It's just so fun when they're teasing back and forth the ABCs and the no quarter, and just like, at that point, like HB being a rock star wasn't all as common as it is now, and like you can even just hear the contrast between then and 10 years later now. He's got so many more tricks than just the so it's really cool to go back to these shows and hear the progression. But yeah, man, that rounds out our little time capsule of Fox Theater shows. Super pumped for everybody that's getting the chance to go there. Scotty, I think it's time, before we go into our segment this week, to do some predictions. And to let you guys know, before this, there has been a running scoreboard where our predictions for Austin, for me, was at X, and for you was Twilight, right? So you're up 1-0, right?
Yep.
Let's hear it. What you got the lead, you got to go first.
Okay.
What's your call for this weekend happening at the Fox?
Let me see here. I think I like a frequency suite this week.
Okay, full frequency seat. That's what you're going.
Yep. Let's go full frequency suite. Do we just want to do one per run?
Let's do one.
Okay.
Then we'll reset next year, and there'll be some kind of Popular championship belt that will pass between the two of us.
Just so you guys know, this is from Halloween to Halloween. Our first episode of this thing was on Halloween, and so we're gonna do a year at a time of calls, and whoever's got it at the end takes the belt.
Pray to God STS9 plays Halloween next year. I'm gonna go with the 12. I think it's due. And I think they're gonna pay homage to that 5-year bust out 12 years ago now at the Fox. So I'm gonna go with 12. You're going with Freak Suite. Put on the board here, right?
Cool. Beautiful.
So getting into our segment this week, Scotty, what do we got?
We have top 5 Tiberius rigs. Our boy Tiberius has got a lot of history with the band. I believe he's over 200 shows right now. And one really cool thing about Tibbs that I don't feel like he gets talked about enough for is that he rarely comes with the same thing twice. Generally, from run to run, it's a completely different situation, and that just it made sense to do a top 5 list because there is a whole lot to choose from. And so I think this week we're gonna let Nate go first. So you go
All
ahead, man.
right, thank you.
Yep.
What a gentleman you are. All right, I have some video aids to go along with this, and
Okay.
don't worry, this isn't going to take up time. And it's no audio, but I'm going to start off first with the Tabernacle 2019 New Year's run. Right. Here's a clip of you seeing. I believe this was Crystal Instrument, if I'm correct, where he's just blasting the ever living shit out of the stage, and that's an old building, man. I got a little bit worried he was going to break a hole in the middle of that stage. But
burn a hole in the middle of that thing.
Oh my God, look at that. That is absolutely insane. So the theme of this was root, rise, grow, seed, root, rise, grow, return, right? And each night you had different you had different elements being added on stage. Whether first night was like tree branches hanging down from the truss. Look at everyone losing their shit. That's awesome. And just it was a big boy rig in there. That's a big tall stage, right? So to see him add like the tree elements to it, I think he added some grass, he added more branches each night to it. That was my first Tabby run, so it holds a very special place in my heart. So that is number 5 for me. Number 4 is got to be Caverns 2019.
Okay.
So first time I had been to the Caverns. Here's a cool little clip here for some background. You don't see a lot of laser work with STS9, right? But when you get into an actual freaking cave and you have the opportunity to blast the walls with soul scanning visuals here, like you're seeing, this was the bust out of Empires, I believe, right here. I mean, I wish I had a wider shot of that. There are some pictures from this weekend that are so freaking cool of the different mapping over the ceiling of the cave and everything. And I mean, both times they've been to the caverns, they've done an awesome job just like playing to the environment, and him visually doing the same thing as well. Using a bunch of lasers on this first run from 2019, and then bringing in an absolute truckload of IVL laser squares when they came back in 2022, which looked really cool as well. But Caverns 2019, that is my number 4. Scotty, you wish you were at those shows, don't you?
I still haven't seen the Caverns for Trav or anyone else. I'm ready to get that cave flu, man. I'm ready to sacrifice my body for a run there, so we can run it back whenever they want to.
It's a must. My next one is more of a moment than an actual rig or run here, and that's going to be from Artifact Night here in 2007 Red Rocks. Where we knew they were going to play Tonight the Ocean Swallows the Moon, but we didn't know that Tiberius was literally going to show you the ocean swallowing the moon here, right? So he's got stage rock lit up here with the blue lights, and he hits you as soon as the band kind of comes in with that moon silhouette where it traveled across stage rock and literally set into the ocean here. Really, really cool moment where you can just kind of hear the whole crowd going like, whoa, what's he doing? And people looking around. Just super creative stuff that like you're like, oh, of course he was gonna do that, but still when it happens, it blows your mind. So that is number 3 for me.
I thought you were going to talk about the actual moon that was above the stage during this, because Tiberius brought that thing up real close during that time. That's probably the biggest I've ever seen the moon from Red Rocks, and it was like it poked out perfect timing. I don't think you see it in that video, but you've got Tiberius's moon on the stage right here, and then directly above it, above stage rock, you've got the actual moon, which pictures don't really do it justice, but in person they looked about the same size.
Yeah, insane. And we all know Tiberius controls the moon as well. So number 2 gonna be a moment for me as well. And Scotty, this goes back to our shows together here. Here's Mobius here.
Okay.
Oh,
we finally got one.
We lined up on one. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So Tiberius brings in a Jack Storms piece, who does cold finishing. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong. The actual style of art he does, where he takes glass and just puts a bunch of different crap in it that makes it look like the freaking Northern Lights are being projected on the walls, which can't really be like seen from this angle here. But I mean, when you go back and watch these videos, which I was before the show, Scotty, like, oh my God, just blasting the crap out of that thing. That's like a $10,000 piece of art too. That Jack Storms was like, yeah, man, do your thing. He had his gallery in Aspen, and this was at the Belly Up in 2018
Hmm.
during Circus. And yeah, the coolest thing was looking at the walls. It looked like the freaking Aurora Borealis. So that was a really cool moment, and good to know that we hit our first share there. Number
Hmm.
one, I'm gonna guess this one is on your list too. I mean, the first time we went to the Eastern, man,
Hmm.
holy
Yep.
crap. We
Yep.
saw the rig. They posted a picture of the light rig before the first night, and this thing was an absolute monster, dude. Like it was like a huge freaking diamond, and then a big circle in the middle of it with a bunch of IVL squares and the light bars behind them that throw the silhouettes that he's been using a lot recently too, which I love. So this is a clip from Worry No More, which was the New Year's Eve midnight song. And I mean, he absolutely vomited rainbows over that whole room. It was crazy. And then we got another clip here. I think this is from Click Lang Echo of just a
The
look at,
Squazers.
yeah, the laser squares. Like Tiberius refers to this rig playfully as the look factory because he could just throw so many different looks at you with this thing. And it looks pretty damn cool here. So
Hmm.
there's my top five. Scotty, let's hear
So
you.
yeah, so we had two overlaps. I'll get to where they're placed when I get to them. And I did not come as correct with videos, but at least we got two overlaps. So you got to see two shots of what I'm talking about. My number five one. I don't know if I've ever seen a video specifically of this moment, but it was actually from the Paramount show last year, specifically during the Shock Doctrine. I feel like Tibbs has been playing a lot more with silhouettes lately, and in over the last year and a half, really been using the band as kind of their own piece in the light show, and kind of the shadows that they cast. And the first time I really noticed that and appreciated that was during the Request DS9 show for or Selector 9 show from the Paramount last year, during the dark part of Shock Doctor. And I just
The
I
spooky ending. Oh yeah,
yeah.
return of the spooky ending.
Just one of those moments to me where I made sure to walk up to Tibbs afterwards and say that Shock Doctrine was your moment. A lot of fun. I just that one's burned in my brain, but I've never seen a video of it. Number four is Mobius.
There you go.
That type of glass is called dichro glass or dichrotic glass.
There we go.
Um,
You got my back
and
here.
you got everything else. He layers that, layers dozens, if not hundreds, of layers of glass on top of each other. It involves cold cutting with a bandsaw and a bunch of water, and that's about as far as I understand of it. I ran a smoke shop for 5 years, so I've limited understanding of glass making. But that's even a little bit further than anything I've ever seen. That being said, just the bringing in of elements into the stage is something that, outside of the crystal placement that Tribe did in their early years, you just didn't really see. And 2018, Tibbs pulls out the Mobius. It's a moment for sure. That was our first weekend hanging out as friends together, and that was also the weekend that we kind of jokingly dubbed this the 3.0 era. Made the T-shirts with the
Shirts
Mobius
were
crystal
made.
on it. I
Yeah.
never got one, but we won't talk about that. Um, and yeah, I mean, it felt like very much the beginning of an era, and we'll get into that year later. But I've got two 2018 rigs on my list. My number three is the Eastern. It could have been my number one, especially if we're just going off, like you said, just looks. Oh my goodness, man. That rig is so special. I really loved the first angle that you had because when you said it was diamond shaped, I don't know if I actually really ever caught that. But you can really see it from that high up. And there's just so much to work with, and he maxed out every single beam that he possibly could that weekend. It felt like pent up aggression on the stage, you know?
I I think the cool part was he slowly unraveled all the different looks
Sure.
too, right? It
Hmm.
was it was almost like every set that weekend, you can see the bottom of the circle inlay right here too. Like he was
Hmm.
throwing old school Saxon looks at you, and then he was working in the laser squares. He didn't work in until Click Clang Echo, which was near the end of that first show that first night.
Hmm.
But I mean, you think across 9 sets because they played 3 sets that one of those nights with the wave spell set, it seemed like he was throwing you a different look with every set. So I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah,
You walked me right into my second one with that throwing different looks for each set, because my second one is Push the Sky. Um, this just doesn't get talked about enough, man. The only band that I've ever seen do anything like this is Fish with the moving light rig. That Fish is its own story, and their light rig is constantly moving. But you had a 2 night run at Red Rocks, 3 sets each night, and that rig completely morphed and changed. Yes, thank you. Um, and it was just really cool. It started off very close to the band's head, and as the night went on, started growing and getting bigger. And by the end of it, you felt like it was a completely different stage. Um, yeah, just something I had never seen up to that point, and I thought was a really cool, ambitious effort from him. Um, yeah, I
I
just
mean, they literally pushed the sky. I think that was the
yeah.
whole thing. Like at the end of it, you realize like that huge set of trusses that was right below them, over them or right
Hmm.
above them. Like the first night ended up way up at the top
Yeah.
of that Red Rock stage that night. So really cool stuff. And there's a ton of videos of that on their YouTube page, STS9's official page here. So
Hmm.
without further ado, number one for you.
Cave of Crystals.
Okay, all right.
Cave of Crystals. This entire one is on YouTube. Um, Going back to Tribe keeping the crystals on stage early in their career, and then they got away from it, but it was just such a cool homage to that, and Saxton, for what he was amazing. One of the best that I've ever seen do it. But the biggest difference to me between Saxon and Tiberius is shit like this. Tiberius has shown time and time again, whether it's through the Tabernacle one that you showed, where basically, by night 5 we were in a forest on stage, or something like Cave of Crystals or Push the Sky. He's never scared to try something that you haven't seen before. And this to me, just the looks on this were so cool. It felt like you were in a literal cave of crystals. And it's just the bar to me. It's creative, it's fun. I love everything about it.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then you got the the Be Nice open of the first night
Hmm.
into Crystal Instrument into Dragon City. We like to
Hmm.
call that the old Crystal Dragon there. And the actual real crystals on the front of the stage, which were absolutely
Right.
massive too. Which was a really cool element as well. It kind of makes me think of, I got a chance to see them at Gem and Jam a few years ago too, where they just rig it's alongside one of the biggest crystal conventions in the world. And the main stage itself is rigged with a ton of crystals, and it definitely had 2004 STS9 vibes too. So
Hmm.
really cool stuff and great lists from you, man. What were one of your favorite fan lists we got from this?
So I've got Eric Moran on mine. Uh, got it on the agenda note. So Eric Moran, we've got Visions 2020, the Behemoth rig. All three of us share that one. Santa Cruz Squazers. Same year that the Square Lasers came out, but that Santa Cruz venue, you were talking about it earlier. Very, very special place to see Sound Tribe. And then we've got the Caverns from your list as well. Lasers in a cave. That's the only thing he said about it. This is probably my sixth one. My first one off. Roxy, just thanks. Um, just another gigantic rig. Don't know if we'll ever get to see the band play there, but I totally respect that Roxy pick. That was a really, really cool rig, and I think that was actually the first time I ever talked to Tiberius about any of his lighting. We were on the same airplane on the ride back from that one. And then Walk the Sky, which is definitely worth talking about. To my knowledge, and if it wasn't the first time, it was certainly the first time I had ever seen a band have no lights above them.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on under them, a lot of smoke made it seem like they were kind of floating on a cloud the whole time. I would say that this one might be a little bit of a controversial answer if you were to poll everybody, but going back to Tiberius just being fearless in what he's willing to try, I thought this was really cool, and I loved it being number 5 on Eric's list. So shout out to you, Eric Moran, with your second shout out in 3 podcasts.
Thank you, Eric. And my list I like from the listeners here was Jim Shepard's. He started out with one that I wanted to put on here, but like it just like up against the rest of the 5, I couldn't. The Roxy was another one on there I had a really hard time not putting up here. So shout out to that run too. But his number 5 is Aragon Ballroom, February 2017.
Okay.
So this is one of Tiberius's first shows. The second night they hit you with a Blue Mood, Potamus Blue Mood encore. The Aragon sucks for everything you want for a concert and music, right? It's a really cool room.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I hope I never have to go back there again, but a really cool moment. They do have a massive, it's got to be a 10-foot wide disco ball in the center of the room. And he just absolutely waited until the encore and Blue Mood, Potamus Blue Mood to blast that thing with white and blue lights. So that was really cool. So I was glad to see somebody had that on their list. His 4th is Wave Spell 2018. I've got a little clip of here.
Oh, that's a great one, Jim.
The thick bars. The thick
bars.
I miss the bars, the thin bars. The thin bars were really cool for a long time too. But here we are in Belden Town with the thick bars. I mean, like Belden Town lights, I mean, are just amazing. And then number 3 was House of Blues Chicago, February 19. I believe that was a thin bars weekend. Then he's got Push the Sky and the Eastern as his top 2. Agreeing
Nice
with me and you on that one. So really cool exercise. Shout out Tiberius, man, to just always keeping things fresh. This weekend is a big stage at the Fox Theater, so I'm sure he's going to have a big boy rig ready for us. And I really hope we get some news on a video stream, but if not, we will be recapping those shows on next week's episode. But we've got another prompt for a little segment we're doing next week as well. I think it plays off a little bit of what we heard with the clips here today. Scotty, what do we want people to tell us before next week?
Yes, sir. So for next week, guys, blast off in the comments, shoot us messages, however you feel most comfortable. We're going to do top 5 Sound Tribe covers that you would like to see. This is not stuff that they've touched. This is in your dreams when you're seeing STS9, they play your favorite non-STS9 song. What is it? Give us your top 5 of those, and then we will come back with ours next week.
That's going to be a tough one for me, man. That one might take longer than all the other ones we've done so far. But
I've got 2 or 3 in my head that I've said for quite some time, and then I'll have to dig a little bit deeper, but that'll be a fun exercise.
Absolutely. Well, hey, safe travels, everybody going out to the Bay Area this weekend. Enjoy it. Subscribe to Bandcamp. Subscribe to our YouTube channel here. Hope you guys like the new logo here, right?
Yes.
And some of you here are listening to us now on Spotify or Apple Music. We're going to be available on those platforms from here on out. And we're going to be talking a little bit of background behind that logo as well here, which is some pretty cool stuff behind it. But Scotty, thanks for joining me, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to everybody for listening. And yeah, have a great week, guys. Great weekend.
Yes, sir. Love y'all.